thank you 925 for texting in, says hugely optimistic about this year. Seattle and the Rams got better, but we won 12 games with a less talented team. By the way, I think the Rams got better. I don't know that Seattle, did Seattle get better? I would look, all of this is on paper, but I'd argue they did not. They had some departures from that defense that was so great. One of which is, who's my guy? Kobe, I'm blanking on his last name in Chicago.
Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant. I don't know why I would forget that last name, but yeah, Kobe Bryant, who is now out for the majority of the season with the Bears, but he's gone. Kenneth Walker is gone. I don't know who's running the ball for Seattle. I don't know that Seattle got better, but we'll see.
It's just tough to tell at this point. I was looking earlier at the Jimmy Shapiro. He's one of these reps for an offshore book, and they put out the win totals for just the games inside the NFC West.
Okay.
The Rams and the Seahawks are at 4, so the over-under is, will they win 4 of the 6 divisional games? The Niners are at 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
So the odds makers are telling you that those top 3 are very tightly bunched, and it could come down to what it did last year, which is a Jake Tonjes play, a blown 4th down by the Rams that the Niners snuffed, and that's 2 of their 12 wins right there.
That's a tough number, 3.5. I mean, it was Grandy, I think, last week. You said you'd be happy with 3-3, right?
Yeah.
You say that? And I get it. Everybody just assumes that Arizona's going to go 0-6 in the division. I bet they won't. But everybody's just counting those as 2 wins on the baseline. And then it's what can you do with those other 4 games? Can you split them? And but 3.5, that's a tough number. It's tall order.
It is.
There's no question. It's tall order.
Well, because you're not going to all go 5-1 against, in the division. I don't even know if that's possible.
I don't think it is.
Right. Even if Arizona went 0-6 and you all went 5-1, that's not enough wins and losses to go around. So somebody's going to disappoint in that. I was looking at the schedule earlier, and I do think that maybe it's the second time you play the Seahawks. They're coming off a bye. There's a couple of spots in there that make this opener against the Rams so important. If you can steal that one, well, yeah, now you have a good chance to go 4-2.
I mean, all the division games are important. This one's got so many weird quirks to it. And we sit here on August 11th, super concerned about injury and whatnot. But yeah, the Rams, I mean, maybe, how would it change your thought process just if I said Puka's not playing? How would that change the line, I wonder, in this football game?
Maybe a point. I know that the quarterback is the one that really moves the line a lot. But, Puka Nacua being potentially out, that would maybe move it from 3.5 to 2.5. I think that's where it sits right now, 3.5. So it would be not a huge move, but it would certainly help, no doubt.
It's a big deal. He's the scariest dude on their offense, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, other than Matt. The quarterbacks are a different deal. But that's the scariest dude on their offense. Puka Nacua. Still a good football team without him. Same way I think the 49ers are still a good team without, one of their receivers.
Right.
Not comparing any of their receivers to Puka Nacua. But, these teams are all, I don't know. We go, how are they going to handle the Seahawks and the Rams? I do think that, the Seahawks and the Rams need to handle the 49ers too. All 3 of these teams, they're going to be a pill to play, just like they were last year. So the Niners will be in these games, I believe.
They were last year with the exception of the NFC divisional game.
The divisional game.
Which they weren't really in that game. That thing got away from them so fast, and it was just whiz bang, and it's over. But I'm looking at the schedule, and Seattle, when Seattle comes here, they actually are off their bye. So that becomes a little bit of a tougher spot for the 49ers because, Seattle will have that extra 7 days of rest. That's why I think about this opener in Australia, Puka or no Puka, Kittle or no Kittle. It's a neutral game, and I'm also fascinated, and I'm glad that you said that earlier because when Steiny was saying that, Niners are going 8 days early, Rams are going about 36 hours early. What's the better approach? Not that the game ultimately will decide what the better approach is, but it certainly is going to be a part of it.
The lovely Christy was listening to Crossover. She said jet lag is 5 days. And I was unaware that it was that defined. I don't know if it's the same for every human being. I can't feel like jet lag affects a 6-year-old the same way it would affect a 60-year-old, but what the hell do I know? But she says jet lag is 5 days. But you want to know what my perception is? It doesn't, does it matter? Jet lag on the back end, does it matter when you got there? I would imagine if it's 5 days, it's 5 days. Everybody's coming home right after the game. That would be the really funny one. The Rams are coming home right after the game. The Niners are waiting 8 days. No, they're not. They're all going to go straight home after the football game. And I would imagine all of them will feel like crap when they get here. They'll have just played a football game and gained a day. They'll have just played on a Friday, and then they'll get home on Friday, and they'll we already did Friday.
Right.
And no, it's Friday now.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, and they'll be super confused, and they'll go to bed. And by the time the practice week starts the next week on Wednesday, I would expect people in their 20s and 30s to be okay.
Right. Well, by the time that your boy Scott Hansen, 7 hours Sunday morning at 10, so maybe you would have 36 hours of oh my God, where am I? Am I still down under? And by the time you fight through Friday and Saturday's a little bit off the schedule, and then Sunday, it's yeah, we're doing week 1.
I got good news on Scott.
He's coming on the show? Did you cajole him into doing another personal greeting for a family member? It's Uncle Scott from Sunday.
He's just the best. He's the best. I have this quick aside, if I may. I have such a thing for people who just flippin' respond. That's it. And I have such an opposite thing for people who don't. I would rather, for example, if I reach out to you and I'm like, hey, would you come on the show? And you don't want to come on the show. I would rather you respond with a middle finger emoji than not respond at all. I really would. Then I know where you stand. Then I know how you feel.
It's Uncle Scott from Sundays.
And then we can move on.
We got a lot of touchdowns to watch together.
Scott bats 1,000 plus.
Really?
He
OPS plus?
100. He will never not respond. And oh, by the way, above and beyond. And so I got to go through his, I got to go through his people. But the process is underway. Let's just put it that way.
I love it. It's good that you got started early because we have.
I'm liking it early.
It's 4 weeks from this Sunday, I believe. Mm-hmm. We're in it all. The full red zone is going to be popping off. So that's exciting and just interesting about the Niners. So if they leave Wednesday, September 2nd, which is 8 days before the game.
And the day before the summit, but go ahead. More on that in a second.
Right, I'm sure that they can catch it in the air because they will be in the air. They land on Friday. Mm-hmm. If they fly at 10:05 p.m., you land Friday morning at 6. So Thursday never happened.
Nope.
So you land on Friday, and it's you try to acclimate and Saturday and then Sunday, and then you get into practice. And I do think that it makes more sense to me that is the buildup on the front end. But on the way home, so you leave on Friday, and like you said, you get back on Friday, and now you're trying to put the pieces back together, but you've got 9 days.
Well, here's the way I look at it, and if anybody ever went to college or whatever, then you know what I'm about to say. Did you ever pull an all-nighter?
Yeah, okay. Many times.
Did it hit you the next day?
Not usually.
When does it hit you?
Day after.
There you go. I think that is a very simplistic way of explaining what the Rams are trying to do. The Rams are let's just show up. And it will be on adrenaline, and we'll be in Australia, and the Niners are gonna be here, and we're gonna start our season and just go play. And then it will hit us like a truck the following day, but whatever. We'll be on a plane back home. We'll rediscover the day that we lost in the air, and we'll go to bed. Stay in bed for 2 days if you want. I think that's the basic concept of what they're saying they're going to try to do. I don't know. It sounds nuts to me.
They do have the benefit of an extra day because they play Monday night in week 2 at home. They do. That's a little bit of a wrinkle. I don't know if 24 hours makes all the difference in how you want to approach it. It seems like they approach it this way with intentionality because they think that this is the best way to do it on the front end. Like you said, adrenaline, you won't get adjusted. We're going to land and we're going to go through a walkthrough and a couple of meals and boom, we're going to play football. And then the way home, you do have that extra day. So perhaps the calculation is like, okay, even if it takes us 3 or 4 days for you to, get reacclimated to California, we still have another 4 or 5 days until our game.
It's going to be a big talking point.
Yep.
And it's super, I don't know. I find it interesting. Maybe that people think it's boring, but I think that's super weird, quite frankly. I don't know. Like, even just for a long time now in my life, I think travel strategy is huge. You and I have talked about this. Big fans of the Saturday return from your vacation. Do not return when you've got to work the next day. Like, that's huge. I think that's so good.
Especially with kids.
Yeah. Or whatever, but yes.
But by the time you get home and you get everybody back and now you're doing laundry and you're grocery shopping and it's like, oh my God, I got to be at work in like 9 hours.
Yeah, no good. So travel strategy is kind of something that I enjoy thinking about, and this one is really weird and kind of intensely different.
Yeah, and especially
with what the Niners and Rams are
when you're dealing
doing.
with like this level of exertion and this level of pressure, like this is an NFL regular season game. You get 17 of them, so you can't just be, oh, well, we probably should have flown earlier. We were sluggish. My bad. No, it's one of 17. Like, the stakes are higher than possible. And I think about my trip to New Zealand where, yeah, the first day I was a little groggy and we're doing what we were doing. And by day 2, you're feeling better. And day 3, you're feeling better. But I didn't have to go out there and chase Brock Purdy or block Myles Garrett.
888-957-9570 is the number. Feeling optimistic, feeling pessimistic about the 49ers with where they sit right now. This feels like a pessimistic day, mainly because Kyle Shanahan said this in front of a microphone about Nick Bosa.
Just soreness, tendinitis. It's a pretty normal thing with ACLs. Just talking to our guys, they say it happens to about 90% of the guys we've had. So it's a normal thing, and so we got to be smart here for week to week. But no concerns about them being any more than that.
Is anything funny going on here? I mean,
like a clown?
No, not funny like a clown, but like, I don't know. I've heard the stuff out there where they're suggesting maybe this has got some hold-in features to it, contractually related. For a second there, the 49ers were like, Nick Bosa just has a little bit of soreness, but we're not going to put a label on it. And then when he didn't come out for 3, 4, 5 straight days and he's missing a joint practice, now Kyle's able to put a label on it. And it's tendinitis, but oh, by the way, almost everybody experiences this, so they say, with ACLs. So, I don't know. Why not say that right away then? If it's that much of a no big deal, why not say that right away when he first started missing practices a few days ago?
Maybe because you're waiting to see if it lingers and becomes an actual thing. If you just miss one day, well, it's just one day. Maybe it's a vet day or it's early in camp. You don't really bat an eye. But if you start stacking missed days, then it becomes more of a talking point. And I guess it could be some sort of a contract thing. I'm just looking at his deal here. And, a lot of his guaranteed money goes away at the end of this year. And so I'm sure he'd love that fresh money that all these guys want to get. They have an out at the end of this year, but the dead cap is $50 million. So I don't think that they're going to just cut ties. But if you're Nick Bosa, you probably want to get some of that fresh money, pumped back into the deal.
Shanahan was asked if there's any concern about McCaffrey, who's sitting out right now with a little tightness.
No, my concern would be him toughing through tightness like a lot of people do, and then hurting something bad and pulling something, which then it could be a month. So that would be our concern. So once we hear him talking a certain way, Christian's a guy who needs to get prepared for week 1, but also we're pretty confident what he's done before this. We're confident what he's done in these 2 weeks, and we just want to make sure that we don't make it something to be concerned about.
Okay. I have a little bit of a different take here. I've decided that I have concern with the word concern. This comes up every single time Kyle Shanahan speaks. And it's the way, and I get it. It's
questionable concern.
Right. So this is the way reporters try, and they're doing it right. They're trying to assess what's going on with a 49er injury. And they keep asking, is there concern? And then if they can't get a straight answer there, they'll go, what's your level of concern?
Right. Questionable.
And
questionable concern.
Kyle seems to always answer that he's not concerned. And maybe he's not lying, because concern is an emotion to the point Steiny was making over the crossover. Like, why would I be concerned about it? It either is or it isn't. And if someone's out, we're going to have to find somebody else to be the next guy up. So am I concerned? No, I'm not concerned. My point is, I think reporters and fans, we believe that word is going to give us a clue into how hurt someone is. I don't know if that's the game that Kyle is playing.
He never plays that game. He plays the game of, I show up to the facility and I look around and see who is able to play football for me. And if it's a Sunday and we have a game and stuff, then I'm going to go ahead and go forward with those 46 guys. And if you can't play, well, yeah, I feel for you as a human being. I'm your coach. I'm not completely ice cold, but I don't think that Kyle Shanahan especially, but any NFL coach, you have to approach it as a zero-sum game where you have a game and you have these 46 guys. How do I make these 46 guys go out there and be better than their 46 guys? And so the whole idea of concern, are you concerned about Nick Bosa being ready for the opener in Australia in 30 days? Well, I mean, no. Like,
should I be?
Exactly. I mean, no, he shouldn't be.
I mean, I don't know.
Are you concerned about being 88 and maybe having to wear adult undergarments? And yes, I went there, Grandy.
Questionable concern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Questionable.
I mean, like, I don't want to do that.
No, but you're
possibly
not, like, you're not worried about that right now.
Well, but everybody's mind. Okay, this is great that you bring this up.
It's a little dramatic.
I know.
Grandy didn't love it, but he's leaving on Thursday.
But
so
nobody
I don't care.
wants to be in their 80s or 90s and be in pain. Nobody wants that. The other side to it is what you could hear when you ask me that question is, oh, I made it to 88.
Right.
I'm right. We navigated the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and most of the 80s somehow.
Exactly.
So are you feeling optimistic or pessimistic about the age 88?
It depends on, how it goes from here to there. But I guess that's my greater point where, are you concerned about Nick Bosa and George Kittle and Michael Williams and, Mike Evans? Are you concerned about them?
I'm not concerned about anything.
Right. Like,
it's football. There's going to be injuries. I'm not sure how worry or concern does anything for them. And I know that's like we're getting a little bit caught in the weeds here. I know that's not what people mean. They're trying to assess the risk level that's going on, how serious something is. But I don't know that Kyle Shanahan is playing the same game as the media. He does not like these media sessions. He openly says that. Like, yeah, over the weekend, he did his first one in months, and he couldn't wait to keep digging in about how much he hates doing it. He doesn't like these things. And if you don't like them, I would imagine you probably aren't bringing your best authentic self to them. So I'm not saying he's a liar, but he's not going to give anything that he doesn't need to give. So are you concerned? No, I'm not concerned.
Because if he is concerned, well, then immediately we all think Kyle Shanahan's concerned about Nick Bosa's tendinitis. Okay. Sound the alarm. If Kyle's concerned, then I'm definitely concerned.
This is a great point. Like, and I love trying to do this with press conferences. When people don't like an answer, okay, imagine the opposite answer. What happens? Is there any concern with Christian McCaffrey's tightness? Well, yeah. Oh, for crying out loud.
Right.
The day's over.
How could there not be concern?
Well, no, but that's it. That's a 5-alarm fire if he says that. So I'm trying to think right now if he has ever said yes to that question in his career. Has he ever stood at a podium and been like, yes, I am very concerned right now?